Dinosaurs have always been one of my favorite types in Yu-Gi-Oh!, though it really took them a while to get things going. Sure, there were the monsters used by Rex Raptor in the original Duel Monsters anime, but he also used some dragon and reptile monsters. It wasn't until Yu-Gi-Oh! GX where we got a lot more dinosaur support alongside the anime character Tyranno Hasselberry.
Dino DNA!
Over the course of even more being added, we got 3 big boss monsters that could potentially serve as a win condition: Black Tyranno, Ultimate Tyranno, and Superconductor Tyranno. Each of these are powerful in their own right and brought some real strength to the monster type. Ultimate Tyranno can do some funny things, being able to attack all your opponent's monsters, and Superconductor Tyranno was extremely solid, being the star of its own structure deck back in the day. But for the most part, Dinosaur was one of the less supported types. They did have access to extremely powerful individual support like Fossil Dig, a spell card that could search for any level 6 or lower dinosaur, but they didn't really have an archetype or decent unified strategy to call their own. That was until the release of Duel Terminal, which brought about the Dirac monsters. Fire attribute dinosaurs that have battle-based effects and could summon some pretty big synchro monsters, but they still didn't make the Dirac impact that they had hoped for. Photon Shockwave brought in the Evol archetype based on reptiles that summon dinosaurs to be used as Xyz material for dragon monsters. A really cool idea, but if you know your history, these monsters were combined with Rescue Rabbit and some old dinosaur normal monsters to make a prevalent deck known as Dino Rabbit. This was some of the most we had seen dinosaur monsters, and honestly I think it was such a genius deck idea. It even played Dirac monsters like Guaiba and Velo as alternate methods of summoning the Evolsaur Xyz monsters. In fact, these two rank 4s retroactively made almost any dinosaur strategy that much stronger because they were given a better end board, but from here on out, dinosaur support would just slip through the cracks. Slowly building beneath the surface, Miscellaneosaurus brought so much potential, being able to summon dinosaur monsters straight from the deck as long as you could banish enough from the graveyard, though without too many powerful low-level monsters and a higher level ones that were easier to just summon straight from the hand. Some duelists, including myself, figured that the best bang for your buck was to combine it with Tyranno Infinity as well as the recently released That Grass Looks Greener. It was really only good online, but hey, it was something. But finally, a few years later, we would get the release of the Dino Smashers Fury structure deck, honestly one of the single greatest products Konami has ever released. Somehow one structure deck changed the course of a monster type forever. You would think that with only a handful of brand new cards, it couldn't possibly do all that much. But oh man, this was a good one. Soul-absorbing Oviraptor finally gave us a monster that searches on summon, with a respectable 1800 attack and an additional effect to recycle monsters in the graveyard. While triggering destruction effects, it gave the deck a core to get things started. And with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno being a combination of the old boss monsters and having an effect to destroy monsters in your hand, the strategy really came together, because one of the old dinosaur cards from back in the day, Baby Sarasaurus, was legitimately an amazing card. If it is destroyed by card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck. No once per turn restriction and no requirements to even be on the field. So now several cards in the structure deck gave you various ways of triggering this effect. Dude, the field spell even lets you destroy monsters in your deck. That is actually insane. There was even a new variation, Petite Pteranodon, which for the same requirement could special summon a level 4 or higher dinosaur monster, the restriction being that it couldn't attack in the same turn. The strategy for the deck became very clear: destroy the babies. There's a little more going on than just that, but for the most part, dinosaurs were finally extremely viable. Again, they already had some of the pieces they needed, but now really has something to search off a Fossil Dig in order to get plays going, as well as a means of triggering effects. And I do like that even though there are several visual thematic identities when it comes to dinosaur monsters, I mean, you've got your regular looking dinosaurs, your weirdly spiritual or otherwise supernatural ones, and then just little cartoon babies, but they all had a thematic gameplay mechanic that made total sense. Destroy. That's it, just destroy. Your own monsters, your opponent's monsters, all of them. And from here on out, there would only be more support that further bolster the deck, proving as necessary parts to an overall combo. I do find it most interesting that the most prevalent dinosaur deck wasn't even an archetype. I mean, I know that many competitive decks don't exactly fit into one family and use cards from all over the game as long as they work together, but the structure deck made by Konami was meant to be this way. Rather than creating a structure deck for an existing dinosaur archetype or creating a new one, they decided to make more generic monsters and support cards that work with generic support from back in the day. During the same era and immediately after, there would be other archetypes like Dinomorphia or even Dino Wrestler, but they didn't really mix all that well with the cards found in the structure deck, aside from the fact that Pankratops itself became a staple. I'm saying that it's funny how this deck is known as Dinosaur because that's just what it is. A bunch of a single type of monster that works extremely well together, but we don't really see that for many other types. You don't play Fiend, you play Labyrinth or Live Twin or Dark World or whatever. One of the only other deck types similar to this would be Earth Machine. I still like the idea, especially because it harkens back to that era of Yu-Gi-Oh where we have both archetypes being built as well as tribal decks taking advantage of synergy. But it's at the point where any more dinosaur support is pretty generic and just ends up getting thrown into the big deck as another piece of the combo, instead of standing on its own. Transcendosaurus was a pretty cool idea, but was harvested for the good cards as part of the Unstoppable Force. Not saying that this is a terrible thing because I still personally win at the end of the day as a dinosaur player, but it is really funny how the dinosaur type just feels like it's only getting started, as we'll maybe move past the one big tribal deck and build up more distinct archetypes with their own playstyle. As mentioned before, Dynamorphia is an example of this, like their playstyle is so distinct that you really can't mix it with the other dino support all that effectively, so I would really love to see even more of that. Let's get experimental, let's get weird with the concepts. Now that a lot of the groundwork has been laid, we can only build from here on out. And it's not like we have to completely forget cards like Soul Absorbing Oviraptor. I mean, hypothetically it could work in so many other decks. Petite Pteranodon could actually become an even better card at searching out future dinosaur monsters. And well, there's always the classic Fossil Dig if all else fails. Where we stand now with Dinosaur is actually pretty great. It can only get better from here, and I am so happy to be able to use these brainless lizards to just destroy everything, even my own cards. Sometimes all it really takes is a single structure deck. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you a longtime dinosaur fan, and what did you think of the Dino Smashers Fury and the future from here on out? Is there a monster type that you think deserves a big overhaul or reset in the same way? Maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, this is GatorX, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.